Hey everybody, it's Ryan McCaffrey with IGN. We're here at 343 Industries checking out all 10 Halo 4 multiplayer maps with the game's lead multiplayer level designer, Kynan Pearson. Kynan, which map are we checking out right now?
Right now we're going to take a look at Meltdown. So this map is a large-scale vehicular map. It's got a lot of routes that go through and around kind of a central bridge structure. It takes place on a moon where there's kind of a catastrophic reactor meltdown going on.
You've already described the greatest multiplayer map ever. That's the greatest description I could possibly think of for a Halo map. So you mentioned in one of the other videos that you've got sort of a mental checklist. You guys wanted to do some smaller maps, some medium maps, some objective maps, large-scale stuff. You mentioned this is a large-scale vehicular map. What inspired this particular level?
So this level was built from a need that we had to do a certain level structure. We call it the infinity loop. And the infinity loop is basically a giant figure eight that vehicles can drive and that they converge in the center.
Which was Infinity was a fantastic multiplayer map in Halo PC.
So in this particular map, this is also one that's built around large-scale objective. It's symmetrical in its design. There are some asymmetrical elements in terms of minor rock placement and stuff like that. But you have callouts. You have the side that is all snow, and then you have a few little structures. There's some interconnected teleporters that will take you from the main bases into the smaller side bases. But this is the center of the map. So within the center of the map, you have this bridge right in the middle, and that connects the top of the infinity loop. But if you wind around the outside of the map, then you'll end up coming around in the bottom.
And I see two large man cannons on the side over there.
Yep, passes below. I'll get to the purpose of the man cannons and show you some of the cool stuff that we've got going on that feeds into the Halo sandbox. But in particular, you can kind of cruise around, and I'll give you a view of the general layout, the infinity loop that is the vehicle routing. So you can see that you can pretty much make this figure eight formation when you're in a Ghost or another vehicle, and that it comes around here. But these little cannons on the side will allow you to hop in them on vehicles and put yourself up here, or you can do it on foot. They work both ways. So it's just a quick route for players to be able to kind of backpedal and come up. So those affect both players and vehicles at the same time. And then we also have ones that'll take you immediately into the center bridge structure.
Oh, look at that. So really, you're really sort of literally and figuratively just channeling everybody towards the center of that figure eight.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily to say that most of the combat happens in that area, because we have these basically defensible locations, these bases. So you see these giant structures, which are kind of your landmark callouts on each side. We have the reactors open there, where you come inside, and then you have your, combat areas here when you're trying to defend once you're on the inside of each of these structures, which are on both sides of the map. And then we have your little shortcut routes. These will lead you out to the upper deck, but if you go below, you also have vehicle spawn locations, and then kind of running back into the structure and towards the top deck, you'll see that there's the shortcut route, which takes you to the teleporter that spawns you at the little side base, which gives you a nice view to kind of do some sniping if you
interesting.
If you will.
We don't see teleporters too much in Halo over the last couple of games. Do you generally try to shy away from those except on bigger maps like this?
It's always what works for the map. We don't necessarily shy away from teleporters. We like using them if they facilitate a purpose, but we don't want to use them if it's not built for a specific reason. So if we find that we need them, then it's definitely a possibility to put them in, though it's more dynamic whenever you're launching from a man cannon and able to fire midair while you're traveling around. It's less disorienting to players to do that. But yeah, the teleporters here work out really well and definitely allow players to use more of the side routes to their advantage during gameplay.
This map certainly begs the question. We see the vehicles on the lower part of the figure 8. Banshee in here at all?
There is no Banshee in here. That being said, it's definitely something that may make an appearance. It's possible to place the Banshees in custom game types. But you can see that we've got these little interconnected foot routes. So while it does seem like the map is scaled to have a lot of vehicle routes going through the map, just running around on foot is definitely supported with the amount of cover that you have, and you've got a lot of interesting multi-layered verticality to deal with whenever you're having cross-map engagements.
Seems like a potentially great capture the flag map here.
Yeah, absolutely. CTF works out really well here. Any of the BTB modes, Dominion is definitely a plus, and then a few others.
So do you literally, when you start working on this map, did you just sketch a figure 8 on a piece of paper and go,
Not necessarily. Most of the time, we'll have ideas of kind of the flow of the map. So knowing that the infinity loop is something that works out really well and gives you some interesting dynamics, and it differentiates it from some of the linear structures that you get where it's just base to base across landmass, or the donut structures. This was something where mocking it up and building it in 3D definitely shows more of what the map can do and helps you define what the scale of everything needs to be. So while paper layouts do come into play, it's more along the lines of you don't know a map until you've built it.
Sure. Now, of course, ice has long played a role, and snow has long played a role in Halo, going back to Halo 1. Can you, is the traction of the vehicles affected at all by the weather conditions here?
Traction is not affected by the snow in the map. And we don't have any icy patches or anything that you're driving over that would cause you to skid around, so we didn't mess with the vehicle physics in that regard.
Do you find that that's just takes away from the gameplay?
No, I mean, there could definitely be ways to use that. We just didn't look at that as something that we wanted to focus on in this map.
And so how has this map evolved over time? I mean, it's because we've already talked about, if you watch some of the other videos, we've got a couple of other big scale big team battle maps. So where does sort of this one fit in with Halo 4's other big team battle maps, stuff like Longbow and Exile?
Yeah, so because it's got all the interconnected routes between the areas, you have a lot of opportunities for close quarters combat and getting the drop on people in some of these little interesting areas where you've got the interiors. To give people a little bit of a rat's nest to crawl through. But this one in particular specifically was about kind of the convergence in the middle of the map, which we've talked about with this bridge area, but also just messing around with the vehicle man cannons and the different man cannons all taking you into a lot of areas. It was something that was good to have just this canyon that you would go through where you could have engagements on upper ridges, lower ridges, and have to contend with the vehicles swinging around at high speed. It was an experience we didn't have with the other maps, so we wanted to definitely provide some variety and give people a unique take.
Could be interesting if you played a game type of shotguns and sniper rifles here.
Yeah, shoddy sniper game type would work out really well in this environment, because not only do you have the really long lines of sight, but there's also ways to be sneaky and prevent damage with the amount of cover that you have lining all of the various routes in the level.
So would camo be a good armor ability here?
Camo absolutely would be great for this map. Jetpack does work out really well, but even hologram comes in handy just in terms of throwing people off, because firing at distance and catching people off guard coming out of little cubbies, there's always opportunity to surprise them and give them a distraction.
Well, that is Meltdown. For detailed developer walkthroughs of all 10 Halo 4 multiplayer maps, keep it focused right here at IGN.